It began with a woman dancing in the streets and ended with dozens collapsing from exhaustion. Or worse. Strasbourg, 1518. No music, no celebration, just a town gripped by a terrifying force they couldn't stop. This wasn't a performance, it was a plague of dancing. If you've never heard of this eerie episode, stick around, because what happened in this medieval town remains one of the strangest public health mysteries in history. Was it mass hysteria, a curse, or something even darker? Make sure to like and subscribe to Pin to History for more bizarre stories from the past that still haunt us today. In July of 1518, in the city of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, now in modern-day France, a woman named Frau Trophea stepped into the street and began to dance. There was no music, no festival, and no explanation. She danced for hours, then through the night, then into the next day. Her feet bloodied, her body writhing uncontrollably. By the third day, she wasn't alone. Within a week, dozens had joined her, men and women unable to stop, compelled to move endlessly. They weren't smiling. This was no joyful act. Witnesses said they looked possessed, terrified, and in pain. They screamed for help, yet couldn't stop themselves. And the number kept rising. Strasbourg's leaders were horrified and confused. In an effort to help the afflicted, they turned to the best advice they had. Let them dance it out. They cleared out the city's grain market and even hired musicians, believing that perhaps music and movement would lead to a cure. What happened next was even more disturbing. The dancers kept going until they collapsed, their bodies seizing, their minds frantic. Some reportedly died from exhaustion, heart failure, or stroke. Estimates vary, but dozens of deaths may have occurred in just a few weeks. Instead of healing, Strasbourg was witnessing a deadly involuntary performance, one no one could end. Centuries later, historians and scientists still ask, what really happened? Here are the leading theories. 1. Mass hysteria, psychogenic illness. Many believe this was a case of mass psychogenic illness, where extreme stress causes physical symptoms to manifest in groups. The early 1500s were a time of famine, disease, and religious turmoil. The people of Strasbourg were vulnerable, frightened, and spiritually anxious, the perfect recipe for a psychological outbreak. 2. Ergot poisoning. Another theory blames ergot, a toxic mold that can grow on rye bread. Ergot can cause hallucinations, convulsions, and even gangrene. This is the same fungus from which LSD is derived. Some argue the afflicted may have unknowingly consumed contaminated food, triggering uncontrollable behavior. 3. Religious ecstasy or possession. In a deeply religious society, some believed the dancers were under divine punishment, or the influence of a saint. Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers, was often invoked in cases of seizures or nervous disorders. Some saw the plague as a spiritual crisis or divine possession. Strasbourg's case is the most famous, but it wasn't the only dancing mania recorded in Europe. In fact, similar outbreaks occurred throughout the Middle Ages in places like Aachen, 1374, Metz, 1418, and Zurich, 1530. People would dance in large groups, often in religious processions, writhing in pain or joy. Some danced for hours, others for days, some even until death. In some cases, crowds gathered to watch and even joined in as if compelled by invisible forces. Whether these episodes were contagious spiritual episodes, neurological reactions, or cultural phenomena, they terrified authorities and mystified generations. The dancing plague continues to fascinate psychologists and historians alike. It's often cited in studies of mass hysteria, social contagion, and collective behavior. More modern parallels? Think of the laughter epidemics, Tourette-like tics on TikTok, or even panic buying during crises, all showing how powerful group psychology can be when fear, uncertainty, and stress converge. What happened in Strasbourg may be history, but the human mind hasn't changed much. With today's social media, viral content, and increasing mental health pressures, experts say mass psychogenic illness still exists. It just looks different. We may not see spontaneous dance outbreaks, but we do see mass delusions, viral panic, and behaviors that spread without explanation. The dancing plague reminds us how suggestible, fragile, and mysterious our minds can be, and how culture, fear, and trauma can spark chaos that defies logic. In the summer of 1518, the streets of Strasbourg became a stage for a tragedy no one saw coming. Not every plague leaves behind corpses or contagions. Some plague the mind, silently, relentlessly. And perhaps the strangest part of all is that we still don't know what truly happened. If this story intrigued you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.